Welcome to Diversity. My name is Glory Ezemma, and I'm going to be the host of this show. This is a show where we will come out. Actually, it's a show that will give people the forum to talk about their culture, talk about their uniqueness so that others can understand who they are. Because I believe that in this world we can live in peace and harmony. The only problem that we have is that we don't know each other. So when people do not know each other, they base a lot of things on stereotypes. So it's always good to come out and watch this show. You can watch it on YouTube, watch it anywhere that you want to watch it. It's called Diversity. So on my show today, I have a special lady that is going to tell you a lot about herself. This is a lady that does a lot of charity work. Not only does she do this charity work in this country, she travels across the globe to another continent, helping people that have different racial backgrounds, different cultural backgrounds. So that will tell you that if we understand people, we can live among them because not only does she do the charity work, she lives among the people there. So without much ado, let me introduce my guest, Vilma Vaccaro. But before I will allow her to talk, I'll tell you one of the stereotypes that I did actually a few hours ago. When I said I was going to introduce her as Vilma Vaccaro, I told her, I said, Vaccaro, it sounds like a Spanish name. I said, I'll say a little bit of Spanish that I know on the show. She called me back. She said, no, Glory, Vaccaro is not a Spanish name. It's an Italian name. So that will tell you this is one of the stereotypes that we have, that when we hear names or when we see people from different racial backgrounds or different cultural backgrounds, we make assumptions. And sometimes some of our assumptions could be wrong. So, Vilma Vaccaro, welcome to Diversity Show.
Thank you.
I thank you so much for honoring my invitation. So tell me a little bit about you, because I've read so much about you and the charity work that you do across the continent of Africa. So
Yeah,
let's see a little bit about who you
sure.
are.
You know, you're so right about what's in a name because Vaccaro is an Italian name, yet like stereotyping, I'm Puerto Rican, but I'm married to an Italian. So when people hear my name, a lot of people, they know me for so many years and they think I'm Italian. And when I tell them, no, I'm Puerto Rican, they're like, what? They're like really surprised when I tell them that. And so, yeah, that's really important, a name, you know. But my background, I was born in Puerto Rico in Santurce, and I was there like 9 months, and then I came to the Bronx to live. So I was raised in the Bronx, and when I was about 18, I moved back to Puerto Rico for a while and started living there. Then came back home and married at 21, and that didn't last too long. Then I got married again when I was 35 to Mr. Vaccaro. But in the meantime, I worked at Nyack Hospital. That's where I met Glory. I worked there for many, many years. I always like to help people. That's one thing I always like to do. And I felt that I was feeling very unproductive. And so I got a job in the hospital. And I was helping people. They used to bless me because they felt I was doing 110 for them. I used to get them out of bed and feed them and just talk to them about God and healing and everything. And so they were really grateful about that. When I retired, though, in 2007, you know, I even though I was doing that work, there was always something missing. I always felt there was something missing, and people would say, my friends would say, no, you're taking care of people. What more can you do that should be fulfilling? And for some reason, it just wasn't fulfilling. I didn't feel like I was doing what God wanted me to do. I think we all go through that sometimes. We wonder, what are we doing here? What is our purpose in this world? And that's the phase I was going through. I was actually asking myself those questions, and I started to. Anyway, so what happened was that after that, once I retired, I met this girl, Marilyn, and so she must have prayed for me. However, to make a long story short, I got saved. I was born again. And my whole life, I wanted to change my whole life around. And I, I was looking in the computer, and because a friend of mine had asked me if I wanted to go to China to teach Chinese, and I said, "Oh, that's a possibility, right?"
That would have been interesting
Yeah,
too.
I know,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And then she said, "Well, you know what? You can go to China and you can teach the kids English." And I had already started a business. She goes, "And you have someone take care of your business for you." So I started looking in the computer and googling going to China and teaching English. And on the sides, these things pop up. The World Missions Alliance popped up, and I didn't know who they were at the time. And they started asking me, "Do you want to go to China and teach English?" And I was like nervous about it because it was a long ride. It was like 12 hours to get to China. It was the fear of the unknown. So I fought it, and I'm like, "No, I'm not going to China. I'm not going to go to China." And I kept telling them, "No, I'm not going to China." And they kept on and they kept on emailing me and telling me, "Yes, you can go." I started to feel out of my comfort zone. And that's when you know it's God.
Exactly.
When you start feeling uncomfortable about something and it's something good, it's usually God that's doing that. So God was pursuing me. He wanted me to go.
So he was prompting you.
He was prompting me, yeah.
Exactly.
So we all make bargains with God, right? So I said, "Okay, God, if you really want me to go, then you send me the money." I said, "Then I'll know that it's you that really wants me to go." So I got to tell you, about maybe a week later or less, I get a phone call from this attorney. He tells me, I have money for you. I've been trying to reach, but I didn't call him back because I thought I owed him money. So he says, "I got $3,000 for you." That's exactly how much money I needed to get there to China, for the hotel, the airfare, and everything. So then I knew that God wanted me to go there. I knew that. So I went there. It was beautiful over there. The food was good, and when I first got there, I said, "You know what? I can't eat Chinese food 3 times a day." By the time I left, I couldn't wait to eat. When you come back to the United States, you don't even want to eat Chinese food anymore. But now, so we did some ministering over there, some evangelizing. I stayed in a college, a children's college. And the day I'm leaving, the day that I'm going to leave, this young girl comes in, busting into my room. I'm sleeping. It's nighttime. Her and her friend. "I want to know all about Jesus."
Oh.
Would you believe that? I'm like, "Okay." So I got up. I said, "I'm going to have to tell her about Jesus." So we started talking about Jesus and all that. And then she went home and her friend went home. And, there was other missionaries there with me. And then the next day, when I was about to leave, she came back.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Is she Chinese?
Yes, Chinese.
Wow.
Two little Chinese girls, yeah.
Okay.
She came back, and the Chinese people have a different beliefs than we do.
Exactly. Actually, it's all over. Almost every country.
Yeah.
They have people
Right.
from. Almost every country has like different racial or different
Yeah.
religious backgrounds.
But I did find a lot of born again Christians in Shenzhen, where I was staying.
Okay.
Yeah. So she comes, and one of the missionaries that was with me says, "Okay, get her saved." She said, and let her recite the sinner's prayer, and she did, and she and her friend got saved. So now I come back home, okay, and I go to Times Square Church, and I'm feeling bad. I'm like, you know what? Now I'm like, I only got one person saved. I went all the way to China, was there for 10 days, and got one person saved. So I was kind of feeling a little bad about that. That's how the enemy works. So then I go to church, and I'm sitting there, and Pastor Conlon, he's preaching that morning. He's like, guess what he's preaching? Don't feel bad because you just got one person saved. Because that one person is going to get another person saved, and that person's going to get someone else saved. I couldn't believe it. It was like God was talking right to me.
Exactly. I'm sorry. It's not that I'm interrupting you, but I just what you just told me is very important, because you said you spoke to someone. It was one person that you preached to, and that person will help to spread the word of God, and that's exactly how it is. Even with what we're talking about in terms of diversity and the racial backgrounds.
Yes.
If one person can send a positive message out to the world, it can even transform people and make them understand each other and be able to love people. That's exactly how it is with everything. It takes just a single person to bring that change that everyone is waiting for. And that's what this show is all about.
Exactly.
Diversity.
And
and
you're so right, because when I go to Africa, it's a different world. And I feel I'm being humbled, but I have to be understanding of their ways and how they are, and accept them just the way they are.
Exactly.
and be at peace with them, like you said, and work with them. If you want to help somebody, you have to do that. You have to forget about yourself, and you have to put them forward. Which is where the peace begins, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
All right. So traveling to Africa,
Mm-hmm.
what are some of the challenges that you face? I mean, in terms of these are people that you do not know their language.
Mm.
You are not comfortable with their food because I know since you're from Puerto Rico, I know you eat a different
Yeah,
food.
yeah,
So how did you manage to make yourself comfortable in the midst of
yeah.
people that you don't know so well?
Well, I've been going there since 2012,
Hmm.
and at first I didn't eat anything, hardly anything. I could not eat anything.
So did you
They
bring
eat
your own
very.
food?
No, I
Sorry.
don't.
Okay.
I didn't know the first time that I went.
Hmm.
So their food is very spicy, but they do have a lot of vegetables, and the vegetables they have are delicious. And in the years that I've been going there, the food has changed. Other restaurants has opened. They're catering more to what they call forensic people, somebody that's from not from Africa. Because I
Hmm.
go to Ethiopia to Addis Ababa. I mean, they have pizza shops that are out of this world. They have salads all over the place. Restaurants with salads,
Mm.
lots of fish. Even the supermarkets are catering to us. They have ketchup and they have everything that we eat, feta cheese and the lettuce we eat and salad dressings that we eat and the bread. So they're really catering, so it's easier now. So the food issue I think is solved. The only thing is it's very expensive. Like a chicken can cost you $20.
Over there?
Oh yeah,
Wow.
yeah. But the vegetables are very inexpensive and the fruit,
Mm.
so you stick to that. I mean, it's really delicious. And the ice cream can cost you $10, $15.
Wow.
Yeah, so those kind of things are really expensive. I don't know why. And what's difficult is that, well, the language barrier, absolutely.
Hmm.
What makes us think that because, and me anyway,
Hmm.
when I go to Africa, I expect you to speak English. What do you mean you don't speak English, right?
That's a stereotype again?
Yes, I know.
Okay.
I know. I'm like, what do you mean they don't speak
Hmm.
English? You got to learn English, I tell them. But you know what? I need to learn Amharic. And so I
Exactly.
do. I try to
Hmm.
learn Amharic. So we teach each other. They teach me how to say stuff, and I teach them. But so that's one of the biggest things. And they also think that we have a lot of money,
Okay.
and
In
that's one
order
of the
to.
problems we have. So when they see us coming, the prices go up. They kind of try to take advantage of us to thinking that we have money.
Hmm.
So things just go up, you know, and they expect you to do a lot. So yeah,
All
that's
right.
the
So,
things.
what do
Yeah.
you do when you go to Ethiopia? What do you do for the children? Because I heard that you do charity work for the children. What do you
Yes,
actually
yes.
do? Hmm.
So after fundraising for about a year, we raised $10,000, and then I heard or I felt God tell me, okay, now it's time to go to Africa and to start. I thought I was going to be helping the homeless children because when I first went to Africa with the World Missions Alliance, I seen firsthand the devastation. I never seen little children sleeping on the streets. I'm like in the missionary bus, and I'm passing through a main street, a main road, and there was little children, no more than 5, 4, sleeping in the streets. And I'm like, what's that? And they're like, oh, those are homeless children. I'm like, what? And so I was on my way home now. So I got home. I think I cried for a week. I cried for a week. I was never so devastated in my life. We don't see that in America, and everyone helps somebody here.
Hmm.
No one will ever starve
And that's why I
here.
call this place a great nation.
Yes, we
You
will
know,
never
though
let
I'm from the
anyone starve.
continent of
Yeah,
Africa,
yeah,
I call this country a great country. And I'll tell you the reason why I
yeah,
call
yeah.
it a great country. Because it's a country where people care for each other,
Mhm,
where the lion and the lamb live together,
mhm.
and where the rich and the poor live together.
That's right.
I know, I mean, the standard of living could be different, but everyone appreciates each other. And
Mhm.
that's why, I'm glad that you went over there and you saw the
Yeah.
difference a little bit.
Yes.
So, but with what you're doing and what others will be doing later.
Mhm.
Not
Mhm.
only there, but everywhere, because actually the goal of life is to help someone if you can. So I appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I have another question for you. I mean, since you have traveled from here to there, and you have seen people from, different places, I didn't even know that you traveled to China.
Mm.
So, what are things that you would tell people in terms of how to get along with other people, people that are not from your own racial background.
Mm-hmm,
I mean,
mm-hmm.
since you went over there, they welcomed you, and then I mean, you went to Africa, you went to China, and you're here in the United States, a place that I call a mosaic masterpiece, where you have people from different racial backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
But that's something unique about people here. It's like no matter where you come from, whether you're Indian, you're Chinese, or you are African, each person tries to retain their culture by the way of dressing, their food, and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, being in this country for a long time and traveling outside the countries to be able to see people from different racial backgrounds, what are the advice that you can give people so that they can be able to accommodate other people that have racial, differences?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing in life that you can really do is to in your answer to your question is to treat people the way you want to be treated. I think that's the most important thing. I think you always get along with them, you know, and that's the only way to get along. It's accepting people how they are. In this world, we cannot change everything and everyone. It's not our job to do that. It's accepting people the way they are and trying to get along and trying to see how they think. How are they
I like
thinking
that.
about something?
How
Okay?
they think and
It's
not
not
how
about
you
us,
think.
right? It's not
That's
about us.
true.
We need to get ourselves out of the way, and let's put them first. We put God first, them, and then us last. So let's look. Okay, so how are they thinking? How are they seeing this? And let's treat them the way we want to be treated.
Exactly. Because every human being matters. It doesn't matter where
Yeah,
they come
it
from
doesn't
or what they
matter.
look
We're all
like.
the same.
That's
In
true.
and inside, yeah.
That's true. And I like the fact that you traveled and they welcomed you there. So that means people can welcome you wherever you go, not based on your skin color, but even based on who you are as an individual.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
and I think we should judge people based on who they are, not based on where they come from or their skin color.
Exactly.
Yes,
Got to look at the heart.
exactly. All right, so I know we talked about Africa, we talked about China, but you're from Puerto Rico.
Everybody.
So do you know a little Spanish? I know you know
I
a
know
lot.
it fluently.
No, you should ask me, do I know Spanish? Yo hablo español. Un poquito, no mucho.
Oh.
Sí,
okay.
sí, sí,
Well,
sí,
yo
sí.
conozco muchas personas que saben hablar español.
All right, what I just told you is all that I know, so don't go beyond that because I won't be able to understand what you're saying.
So I said I know a lot of people that are not Puerto Rican that speak it.
Okay. So it's a pleasure having
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
I'm
Thank
very,
you,
very
thank you.
grateful that you
Thank
honored
you.
my invitation to be here.
Thank you.
And I
My
thank you for all the
pleasure.
charity work that you're doing across the nations.
Mm-hmm.
So keep it up.
Yeah. But I didn't tell you that I'm
Okay.
teaching the children English.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And we're teaching them English. We teach them basic computers. So I rent a house in Africa. And there we have a classroom. And we have a kitchen and we teach them how to cook. We buy them their school supplies, their medical bills. We pay them. We get them clean water. We put their parents in business by buying them a fryer, and then this way they can make samosas and French fries. So we're not only helping the children, we're also helping the parents because we want to keep the family together. A lot of these kids you see sleeping in the streets is because they've left their parents because their parents cannot afford to keep them at home.
Oh.
You see, so this is where we're doing it. So we figure the children, which we call the future kids, are going to have a good education. So we tutor them in English, and we're teaching them everything we can: etiquette, manners, empathy, sympathy, and this way these kids are going to have a better chance than those little kids we've seen in the streets. Because they're going to have a chance.
Because you never know. Even the ones that you see on the streets can become the next president or the next commissioner. You never know. Because every child matters, actually.
Yes. Well, the president of Ethiopia is taking all those kids in.
Oh.
Yeah, she took them in. A lot of them they're not by force, but she's taking them in and putting them into shelters and helping them. Wonderful, isn't it?
Wonderful.
Yeah.
All right. I know you do all these things for the children, and they must cost you a lot of money.
Oh, yes.
So, is there any place that people can reach you or anywhere that they can reach you in case they want to donate to your charity to help you with what you're doing?
Yes. We have a website, which is info@jtsafrica.org. And we also have our email. That was our email, I'm sorry. info@jtsafrica.org is our email. Or they can go into our website, and there's a donate there. They would have to mail donations to the address on there, which is 99 Main Street in Nyack, New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
Journey
you.
Towards Salvation is the name of the organization. It's a 501c3.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, though I have the name, but in case our viewers, what we'll do at the end of the program, we'll put the address and the email address where you can reach
Okay.
Mrs. Vilma Vaccaro. I use the word Mrs. to end the show. I mean, I'll just tell you. You see, I told you I'm from Africa, so I'll tell you why I use the word Mrs. You know, where I come from, since it's like a different cultural background, whenever we're addressing someone, we have to call them, we have to give them a title, Mr. or Mrs. But it doesn't make someone bigger or smaller. It's just to, boost their self-esteem. So, Mrs. Vilma Vaccaro, thank you so much for honoring my invitation to come to the Diversity Show. And I'll be looking forward to seeing you next time on Diversity Show.
Thank you.
Thank you
for
so much.
having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's the end of our program today. Look forward to other episodes that are coming up on Diversity, where we celebrate all cultures, all racial backgrounds, and that we appreciate our differences. Thank you for watching.
United we will thrive, but divided we will fall. So let's get together and build our land. United we will thrive, but divided we will fall. So let's get together.
It's not just radio, it's Rockland World Radio. RocklandWorldRadio.com